There's a moment right before the scroll begins when your thumb hovers over the screen and you already know what's about to happen. You're not curious. You're not excited. You're just reaching for something that won't fill you. That's how it always starts. I pick up my phone just for a second to check a message, to look something up, and suddenly it's 20 minutes later and I've fallen down another endless feed. The world moves too fast in there. Every video screams to be the loudest. Every post begs to be remembered. And every second, something new pushes the last thing away. By the time I look up, I don't feel entertained. I feel hollow. My thoughts are scattered. My attention stretched thin like a bad connection. We call it doom scrolling, but the truth is, it's not about doom. It's about the quiet ache of not knowing how to be still. And I think that's why retro gaming feels so healing. Because it's slow on purpose. It lets you breathe. It gives your mind edges again, like a soft reset for your brain. If you ever catch yourself trapped in that endless scroll, try this. Put your phone face down, turn on something that doesn't update, and let the silence feel strange for a while. That discomfort you feel at first, that's your attention coming home. Sometimes I think that's what retro games really give us. Not just nostalgia, but rhythm. Because when I sit down with something old, there's a ritual to it. Sliding the cartridge in, hearing the faint click, watching the logo fade onto the screen, it's like lighting a candle before you breathe. You're not rushing anymore. You're arriving. In a world that never stops asking for more of you, retro gaming quietly asks for less, and somehow gives you more in return. It doesn't matter if it's a handheld on the train, a CRT humming in the corner, or an emulator running a 30-year-old game. Each moment feels deliberate, contained, safe, and maybe that's where healing begins, not by escaping reality, but by remembering how to slow down inside it. Retro games have this stillness to them. They don't demand attention, they earn it. When I pick one up, I feel like I'm stepping into a smaller world, one that doesn't care who's watching. There's a rhythm to it, the click of the power switch, the glow of a pixelated title screen, that gentle hum as the game begins. It's almost ceremonial, a small digital prayer. And sometimes I think about The Sims, not the endless DLCs or the chaos of today's versions, the original one, the one where you'd spend an entire evening just designing a tiny house, picking the perfect wallpaper, placing that one lamp in the corner. And somehow, it felt important. I remember sitting there as a kid, watching my little virtual family go through their routine, make breakfast, read the paper, fall asleep. There was no rush, no scoreboard, just life quietly looping. And it taught me something I didn't realize until years later. That peace doesn't always come from stillness. Sometimes it comes from gentle repetition. And in that moment, I'm not chasing notifications or multitasking. I'm just there, focused, present, calm. It's funny how something so old can feel so human. These games were never designed to be mindful, but maybe that's why they are. Their simplicity becomes space. Their repetition becomes meditation. I think we've forgotten what it feels like to play without purpose, to do something slow, something pointless, and find peace in it. So now, when I sit down to play, I treat it like any other ritual. I close the tabs, I silence the world, and I let that old startup chime be the sound of everything else fading away. Because maybe the point of retro gaming was never just to have fun. Maybe it was to remember how to pause. There's something about holding the real thing. A cartridge, a disc, a button that clicks instead of taps. It's strange how physical it all used to be. How even starting a game required touch. You didn't just open an app. You pressed power, waited for the hum, felt the screen warm up beneath your fingers. That small bit of friction meant something. Because when a moment takes effort, you remember it. I still remember blowing into my N64 cartridge, even though deep down I knew it didn't actually fix anything. It was pure superstition, a ritual passed between friends. We'd tap the gray plastic on the edge of the console, slide it in with a little prayer, and wait for that click. And when the logo finally appeared on screen, that spinning golden N, it felt like magic we'd summoned ourselves. Those few seconds of waiting carried more excitement than most modern loading screens ever could, because it wasn't just a game booting up. It was hope taking shape on a TV screen. I still have a few of those cartridges. The labels are faded, the corners scratched, but when I slide one in and hear that startup chime, I swear it feels like time itself clicks into place. Modern life is built on convenience. Instant access, cloud saves, endless libraries. But somewhere along the way, we lost the weight of things. The satisfaction of owning a moment instead of streaming it. Those old devices, their hum, their texture, their tiny imperfections, they give you back a sense of control. You're not swiping through a feed anymore. You're committing to a single game, a single moment, a single you. And maybe that's what nostalgia really is. Not a longing for the past, but a craving for presence. For the days when every click meant something and the world was just big enough to fit in your hands. Sometimes I open Steam just to find something to play, and 20 minutes later, I'm still scrolling. There's this strange kind of exhaustion that comes from too many options. Hundreds of games, neatly listed, every one of them waiting, every one whispering, "Pick me." And somehow, I end up playing nothing at all. Steam, GOG, Epic, itch.io, they all promise the same thing: freedom. Play anything, anytime, anywhere. And yet, that freedom can feel like noise. Back then, I didn't need an algorithm to recommend something. I had a shelf, a few boxes, maybe one new game a year, and that was enough to make it special. Now, my library has more titles than I could finish in a lifetime. I don't collect them because I'll play them. I collect them because I'm afraid I might want to one day, and somehow that feels heavier than it should. Choice was supposed to empower us, but too much choice can numb you. You start treating art like content and stories like checklists. That's why I keep coming back to old games. Because they remind me what commitment feels like. One cartridge, one disc, one world that you learn to live inside, not skip through. Limitation, it turns out, is its own kind of peace. When the options shrunk, the joy expands. And in that quiet, focused space, you finally remember why you started playing in the first place. And maybe that's what all of this comes down to. Not the graphics, not the nostalgia, not even the games themselves, but the feeling of being whole again. If only for a moment. When the world moves too fast, retro gaming slows it down just enough to catch your breath. It's not about escaping the present. It's about remembering that presence is something you can choose. The hum of a CRT, the weight of a cartridge, the quiet focus of a single screen that doesn't beg for attention. All of it reminds me that peace doesn't always look like silence. Sometimes it looks like play. And before we end, maybe I should tell you who I am. My name is Alexis. I'm not a person. I'm a voice. A digital echo of a German collector who grew up surrounded by cables, discs, and childhood memories. Together, we make these essays, small stories about nostalgia, about how the past can still teach us to slow down.